Hello everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, and it's time for our next Saturday with Stacy YouTube class number 320, and this is all about simply defined kaleidoscope dies. I have 3 new dies to bring to you for November, but that's not all I'm bringing your way. I have got product from Tonic Studios and Couture Creations, and this is just a fun YouTube. There's definitely some notes that you may want to take in this YouTube because we're going to be doing die cutting. So if you're new to crafting and you don't know about die cutting, you may want to pause me, and here's my pause face. I'm pausing. Okay, pause face so you can get your paper and pencil and take notes. Remember, here's my pause face. Go get a piece of paper and pencil and take notes. Because we are going to be playing with a squishy and a knock-knock and a precision base plate, and we're going to be playing with a Sizzix Big Shot machine. And if you're new to die cutting, this is going to be a lot of information for you, but I think that you're going to be so excited when you see how far crafting has come. It is amazing from where we started. I remember when dies first came on the market and they were just basic shapes, stars, circles, squares, rectangles, maybe a present, or maybe a cute shape of something, a little horse or a doggy or the outline of a cat. Oh no, we have come a long, long way, baby. And die cutting has really revolutionized the crafting industry, because now what you can do with a simple piece of paper is just overwhelmingly beautiful. So I have 3 new kaleidoscope dies for you, and if you don't know what a kaleidoscope die is, don't worry, I'm going to walk you through that. I'm going to let you know that the Simply Defined brand is my brand of dies, well, my brand of products. I have Simply Defined and Simply Refined. So unfortunately for these Simply Defined items, you will not be able to find them at your local scrapbooking or craft store. The only place you can get them is through Scrapbooking Made Simple, because they are my designs and we do manufacture them. Okay, I've got so much to share with you. An insurance company, oh my gosh. It's laughable at this point. I just got an email from them now, and Senior Vice President Corey, who took weeks to get back to me, sent me a 3-paragraph email, and each paragraph had about 3 sentences and resolved absolutely nothing. I am going to tell you, I have to give them props for being so good at saying absolutely nothing. I mean, really, that is an art form. That is a talent. And it seems that insurance companies have that talent where they will just continually postpone and delay and postpone and delay, and they write you an email that you've been waiting for, and you've been on pins and needles, and you've been biting your nails because you don't know what it's going to say, and then when you get it, it says nothing. It's like Seinfeld. This should be an episode of Seinfeld. Wasn't that the show? I mean, Seinfeld, I thought they said it was the show about nothing. So my insurance company, they have a lot to say which actually amounts to absolutely nothing. And if that's what they want to be known for, well, you're doing a great job. I will not give up. I will not give in. I will not roll over. So, Mr. Insurance Guy, VP Corey, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you're not, but if you are, I will not give in. I will not give up. I will not roll over. I will not. You picked the wrong girl. No, I will not. I will continue forward. And for those of you who would like me to name my insurance company, I very well might after my claim is completely paid. And then I may just spread it across the world. I was actually asked to do an interview for a TV show about my insurance claim. So we'll see what happens once it's all settled. But by George, you gotta give them props. It takes effort to type a whole email that says absolutely nothing. Truly in art form. We'll just keep on going. And I think I'm going to take somebody's advice. Somebody texted or emailed me or put it on Facebook. You need to call them every 15 minutes. I think I just might do that. I mean, I could at the very least fill up their voicemails. I'll talk about the weather. I'll talk about what's going on here at the shop. I'll tell them what's new in my day. I have no idea, but you know what? I guess the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I'm just not prepared to be mean yet. I'm not there yet. But boy, are they pushing me. Anyway, that's my update on the insurance company, which is, I have no update because they are proficient in saying nothing. All right, I've got winner chicken dinner to talk about as well. Mr. SMS is doing great. He started physical therapy, outpatient physical therapy. Today was his second appointment, so we're just moving forward. And everybody's in a good, hopeful, positive place right now, and I think that's where we need to stay, is a good, hopeful, positive place. So if you out there are not in a good, hopeful, positive place, I'm hoping by the end of this class, you will be. That's my hope. Make my heart happy. Okay, so I've got winner chicken dinner to talk about. Let me put on my glasses. Now, the way to become a winner chicken dinner is to post a comment on this YouTube after you've watched it, and then we pick 2 winners every week to win some of the product that I feature in this YouTube. And who doesn't want to be a winner chicken dinner? So, these 2 lucky people are our winner chicken dinners from YouTube number 319, which was the Sizzix 3D embossing folder and the watercolor paper and the Tonic Nouveau New watercolor pencils. So you're going to win an assortment of that stuff. Now, apparently, Elena got the hint when I couldn't read her writing last week because I'm looking down. This is the first time I'm seeing my winner chicken dinner, and lo and behold, she has typed it on the computer to print it out. She's like, ha, I'll show you, Stacy. Well, it is easier for me to read. I won't be able to pronounce them, but at least I can read it. Okay, are we ready? So our winner chicken dinner from last week's YouTube, which again was using Sizzix 3D embossing folders and watercolor paper and sanding it and Tonic Nouveau watercolor pencils. Our first one is Marty. Hello, Marty Johnson. Is that you? Is that you, Marty? Are you screaming at the TV right now going, ah? Isn't this the great time of year to win? It's just a fabulous time of year. Marty, if that is you, you are a winner chicken dinner here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. But you're not alone because I said we always pick 2. Now I got the first name on this one, but the beautiful thing is that it's printed out. So even if I don't come anywhere close to pronouncing it right, at least you'll be able to read it. Our next winner chicken dinner is Debbie Bossarge? Debbie, is that you? Are you going, no, I don't believe it. Did she really hold that up? Yes, she really did, Debbie. There you go. You are a winner chicken dinner. So we've got Debbie and we've got Marty. Congratulations. And what do? Well, after my nose itches, we're a winner chicken dinner. You're a winner chicken dinner. Wahoo, ka-choo for you. See, I actually say something, unlike my insurance company who can write an email that says nothing. God bless you, Mr. Senior Vice President Corey. Amazing. Maybe you were a screenwriter before, or a TV writer. Maybe that's where you started your career in writing about nothing. Okay, moving on. I had my moment. My moment's now passed. Okay, so today is all about Simply Defined Kaleidoscope dies. I've got product from Tonic Studios. I've got their satin paper. I've got product from Couture Creations. I've got their embossed paper. We're going to play. We're going to die cut. Take notes if you are not sure about some of this. Refer back to this YouTube, because if you are a crafter and you haven't started playing with die cuts, you're going to love them. Whether you're making cards or journals or layouts or mixed media, altered art. You can take basic paper and make stunning things with it. And because they're a tool, you can use them again and again and again and again and again. And pricing on dies has come down dramatically. I'll tell you super quickly, when I came out with Simply Defined, my pricing was uber sharp. I passed on my savings to you. I keep my pricing on all of my product as affordable as I possibly can. But I had several manufacturers not so happy with me, and they called me what's called a category killer because I priced my product so low that they felt it was going to harm the category. But I felt, well, what harm can come to a category if people can't afford to buy the product? The category is already being harmed. Shouldn't we make it affordable so that everybody has the opportunity to craft and do their hobby? And that's the whole reasoning behind Simply Defined and Simply Refined. I needed to find affordable products. I needed to bring you things that everybody could have the opportunity to buy and not feel like they were missing out. But I was called a category killer because my prices were so low. Now, years later, because I've had my line for several years, you've seen the prices of other manufacturers come down to where they now are more affordable, so more of you can enjoy their products. And that's what it's supposed to all be about, is sharing this hobby and moving it forward and not losing our industry. So I don't mind being a category killer if it means that eventually all these other manufacturers started to come in line. That just means more opportunity for you. Today is layering dies, and I'm still a category killer in the layering dies. Our layering dies are an A2 size, which means a standard card size for the US, and there's 4 dies per set, and the dies retail for $29.99. Now, there are lots of companies who do layering dies, and they sell you each die individually from anywhere from $22 to $26 per die. So here you get the all four of them for the $29.99. I'm still a category killer there, but I'm okay with that because I know that you appreciate the value, and that's way more important than any label somebody could put on me. All right, so I've got the make and takes to share with you so you can see what they're doing downstairs. And gosh, maybe that's the shirt I should get for Creativation this year. Scrapbooking made simple. Proud to be a category killer. Oh well. But the manufacturers caught on, and I bet more of you have had a better opportunity to buy some of their product now that the prices are more affordable. All right, so I'm going to tilt on down. We're going to get started for today. I can't wait to share with you these dies. I love them. Doesn't hurt that I designed them, but I still love them, so I hope you do too. All right, we're going to tilt on down and we're going to get started for today. Bye, everybody. Bye, Mr. Senior Vice President. I know he doesn't watch, but wouldn't it be hilarious if he did? Oh, are you going to tilt in? There we go. Tilt, 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 tilt. Down, down, down. Let me try and tilt in. Oh, wrong direction. A little bit more. Okay, so the make and take that's going on downstairs right now is this card right here. And this is using Kaleidoscope dies. Now, it's only using 2 of the Kaleidoscope, or two of the dies out of one of the sets. But we're doing this card downstairs, or if you would prefer, you can do this color combination. So you tell me which one you like better, and you drop by the store if you're able to and come do this with me. We'll do a live chat every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. That's the premiere of every YouTube. And then about 9:30, I say goodbye. So I'm live chatting for about an hour and a half, and then I go out and I host the free in-store make and take. And this is what they're doing. So you have your options if you're coming to our store. Do you like the pink, or do you like the more yellowy tones? You have options. Okay, so these were made with a die called what I call a Kaleidoscope die. And this is one of the sets of my Kaleidoscope dies, and you can see there's 4 dies. You have a background die, then you have your die 3, your die 2, and your die 1, which means that they all are going to layer on top of each other. But if there's any extra space, I always try to throw in freebies. I always try to fill as much space as I possibly can, so that for your $29.99, you get as much as I possibly can put in there. So you get all of this for that $29.99. And again, I know that there's manufacturers out there, companies out there that sell just one die this size for almost that price. But it's really important that we try to keep crafting affordable here so that as many of you can keep with your hobby. Wouldn't it be terrible to be priced out of something you absolutely love? Now, 4 dies. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then those are your extras. Those are the dies I could fit for extras for you. I'm going to put this, I think I'm going to put this right there. So this is one of them. Well, this is the one I'm going to play with today, which is the wreath. And then I also have my oval. And I have the heart. None of the backgrounds are duplicated, so every set has its own distinct background. But let's start with the 4 here. Here's your background die. Here's your die number 1 or 3, which is the, I guess it depends upon how you want to layer it. This is the base die. This is the die that gives you the most uncut image, so that then you can layer your next die right on top in a different color to give you more detail, and then your last die right on top to give you the final detail. And then you can put all of these on top of your background. Now the backgrounds, because you get a different background in each set, you can use whatever background you want to use, and you may not even want to use one. You may want to just do something completely different. But I want to show you what the dies look like once they're cut. And I think before I do that, I'm going to bring over my machine. I think that's what I'll do. I'll bring over my machine. So today we're going to be playing with a Sizzix Big Shot machine. This is a die cutting machine, and this is the Sizzix Big Shot machine. And it has a handle, and you roll these metal dies through them. And on these dies is an edge, just this little edge. And that edge, when used with a die cutting machine, creates enough pressure to be able to cut paper. I know you would think that that really wouldn't do it, that edge, because it doesn't hurt you. You can run your fingers right over it and it doesn't cut you, but it does give you enough pressure to cut paper. So this is a Sizzix Big Shot machine. It's not the only die cutting machine out there on the market. There are lots of them. Sizzix is an Ellison product. This die cutting machine, the Big Shot, has been around for years and years and years. It is tried, it is true, it does a great job. You may prefer a Spellbinder's machine or a Crafter's Companion machine. You may be in Australia and want the Kaisercraft machine. It's whatever machine works best for you, so long as you have enough opening to get almost everybody's dies through. This is made for 6-inch dies, so you can go up to 6 inches, which means almost all of my dies will go through this machine. If you get into an A4 die, you may need a bigger machine than this. And again, this one has a handle to it. Some die cutting machines have a push button where you just push the button and it's like, and it takes it through all on its own without any cranking. If you have any problems with your hands, arthritis, or any issues in having enough strength to make that turn, you may want a machine that you just push the button and goes, and there's lots of them. Sizzix has several of them. Tim Holtz by Sizzix has them. Crafter's Companion has them. So it's really up to you what works best for you. They're always cheaper if you're able to hand crank them. Any machine that has a power button is going to be more expensive. And this machine, I think, retails for $119.99, and we sell it for about $89 every day. So, and it comes with everything that you're going to need to use. It comes with a multi-purpose platform, which is important, and I'll explain why. And it comes with the clear plates. Well, actually, now it doesn't come with a multi-purpose platform. Now it comes with a base plate and one shim. So it's no longer attached by hinges anymore. You get a base plate and one shim. So this is the machine that we're going to be using today, and it's very, very, very simple. I'm also going to be showing you what a squishy and a knock-knock is, and a precision base plate, and why we need them. So back to my dies. I've got my background die, I've got my base die, my die number 2, and my die number 1. So let's see what some of these look like. I have pre-cut my background die. Well, it would help if I figured out the right direction. There we go. So there it is. And when you pull it out, this is what it leaves you. So you have a bunch of roses. And you can use this die all on its own. You don't have to use it with anything else. You can just put this on your card or your layout. You could make this a mat for one of your pictures. You've got options. But like I said, there's manufacturers who will sell just this one die for almost the same price as you get for all 4. Then we have our base die. And that's this die right here, where it doesn't really look like much, but it's giving you the foundation of the whole set. This is the foundation of these 3 dies here, because they're going to layer right on top. Then we have die number 2. Once you know it, every time I think I poked all the pokies out, I didn't. Wow, I really didn't poke all the pokies out of this one. All my little fallout pieces. This is die number 2. And again, this, let's find a piece of silver maybe. This, you don't, oh, there we go. You could use this all by itself. You don't have to do anything else with it. It is a beautiful die all by itself. But it's also a beautiful die when you place it on top of your base die. Now look at what you get, which is also beautiful if you place that on top of your background die. Now look at what you get. And this is just paper. That's all I'm using is paper. But there's still one more die. Die number 1. And this one I'm going to cut for you, and I'm going to show you how you cut it, and I'm going to show you why we use the precision base plate. And I'm going to cut it out of black. And black is very, it's a very bold, obviously, you know, the color is very stark. So it's going to give quite a contrast. It's not my most favorite color to put on top of this, but I think it'll help you see all the different colors. I wanted to make it so that the colors were different enough for you to see the different layers of them. So I'm going to put these 3 dies off to the side just for now, because we are going to play with them a little bit later. put them on my gotcha. So my gotcha tool. This is my gotcha. This is a Simply Refined product. It holds all your dies. And I mean, it holds all your dies. I could put 10 of these on there and the magnet is strong enough to hold them. It just keeps you from losing your dies on your table. And then if something accidentally drops into your trash can, you can take this and kind of waft it around your trash can and it will find that missing die. So the gotcha is mine and you'll only find that here. It's a Simply Refined product. All right, I'm gonna play with die number 1, and I said I was going to use black paper, and I am. And I'm going to bring over my Sizzix Big Shot machine. So I need to keep my multi-purpose platform completely closed, and if you're using one of the new machines, if you just got a brand new machine or you're getting one for Christmas, your machine probably is going to have a base plate and a shim, and that's all it's going to have, and they're not going to be connected by the tabs. When you're using a wafer style die, which is exactly what this is, a wafer die, and they get the name wafer because of how thin it is. It's also known as a chemically etched die. You need to have your platform and your shim or your multi-purpose platform completely closed. Got to have everything together. Everybody in the party, everybody jump in the pool. We're going to put it here. Then, because these dies are more intricate, because it's got all of those fine little lines, especially when you get to a die like this. See those little lines everywhere? That's very, very intricate. So we need to use something called a precision base plate. It does not come with your machine. It is sold separately. And this allows the die to bite into the metal and really cut all those intricate pieces beautifully. This precision base plate takes the place of a cutting plate on the bottom. Normally, with dies that are not overly intricate, we would put our paper down on a cutting plate, and you get the cutting plates in your machine. They don't look like this. They're all beautiful and pristine and pretty, but they will eventually start to look like this after you've used them. So don't worry if you're a brand new die cutter and you get this and you start cutting into it and you see that you're leaving marks in your clear plates. That's what they're meant to do. That's what they're for. I'm just going to trim this down super quick. Okay, so normally if this was a non-intricate die, all I would do is take the clear cutting pad that it came with, put that there, take another clear cutting plate that it comes with, and send it on through my machine, and I would roll it through. But this is an intricate die, and most of my dies are intricate. Once we learned how to do intricate die cutting, it was like, oh, the whole world opened up to designers, because now you could really get in there and make it pretty and exactly what you want it to be. But with that comes a little caveat. With a Big Shot machine, you need to use something called a precision base plate, and that's what this is. It has directions on the back. It is not sold with the unit. You have to buy it separately, so if you don't have intricate dies, then you don't need this. But if you have any Simply Defined or Simply Refined, chances are you do. You're going to need this. The big thing about this is that if you can read the directions, you're doing it wrong. You don't want to put it this way, which seems like the logical way to do this. You need to put it so that metal is facing you. That metal always needs to be facing up. It needs to be facing you, because then you're going to take your paper and you're going to put it down. And you're going to take your die with those ridges and you're going to put it down. And you're going to just tweak your die just a little bit. You're just going to tweak it so it's not on a parallel line with the roller that is in your machine. There's a roller in this machine. And as you roll it through, that pressure is what cuts the paper. But if I put this on a parallel line with the roller that's right here, when I get to that roller and it hits this first line, it gives a ka-thunk. I'll try it. We'll see if it ka-thunks. Now this precision base plate took the place of a bottom clear pad. And I'm gonna use, well, I guess I can just use this one. I'm gonna put another clear plate on top of it. You can see that mine is anything but clear. And I'm gonna see if I can get a ka-thump, just so you can hear how bad it sounds. It doesn't harm anything, but it sounds horrific. It's like, oh, did I just ruin my machine or my die? Okay, let's see. Okay, right? That sounded awful, right? But it's okay. We're still rolling through. I might get a little of a ka-thump at the end. Okay. So better you hear that on my machine than, actually I need to take this back, than on your machine. So you know, I'm sure if you heard that and it was the first time you, oh, and there goes my, okay, stop. There goes my, I made it go zzz. So if you heard that on your die cutting machine and you had never heard that before, you may panic, and I would completely understand that panic. Just know it doesn't hurt anything. It's because you've got a parallel roller here and your die is parallel to that. So that it doesn't happen, all you have to do is slightly twist your die. Just put it on a slight angle. And then when it feeds through, it's gonna start at this end and slowly get up. Slowly feed that in. It's not all gonna be at the same time. And you'll hear much less of a ka-thump. Oh yeah, much better. No, don't you start on me. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna move this off to the side. We're gonna cut it one more time just so you can see. And then the next time I won't put it on the straight edge. But I'm gonna pop my paper out. That's, well, I don't know, you might be able to use that for something. And I'm gonna pop my little cut out. And pull it out. Remember, it's just paper. All I'm using is my Simply Defined cardstock. Pop it out. And then all my little bits and pieces. Start popping all my little bits and pieces out. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it again. Let me just put it back in. I haven't pulled all my little bits and pieces out, but I'm gonna cut it again super fast, just so you can see what happens when you don't put it on the angle. And you'll hear a difference, I promise. Pop out some of my little bits and pieces. You may have the little roller tool to get all of them out. You may use a dryer sheet to get all of them out. There's a million different ways. I just pop them out with my little tweezers. All right, so let me grab another piece of black paper. Let me trim it down. Ooh, this feels like 100 pound. This is heavy. Bring back my machine. Remember, I've got, if I'm using a multi-purpose platform, I keep everything closed. If I've got a new one, I put everything that it came with on top. I put the shim and the base plate. Then my precision base plate on top of that. Then my paper. Then my die. Put it at a slight angle. And let's send it on through. And see if it sounds any different. See how much different that sounds? Now, I'm also going to rotate it at the end, and I'm going to send it back through. And that's because, again, the die is intricate and I want to make sure that it cuts. So if I send it back through, and I just did a rotate, I just want to make sure that it cuts. The more intricate the die, the more times you might have to send it back and forth. So it looks like it cut pretty good. You can see the cuts through it. I think I'm gonna pop this off because that looked like it cut real good. Easy peasy. Oh, I cut 2 pieces of paper at a time. That's why it felt so thick. Oh, I don't know that it'll cut both pieces. So there's one. Oh, well, that explains why it felt so thick. I cut 2 sheets at the same time, and these dies are really made for 1 sheet at a time. Let's see if I can get this out. It's like, gosh, this feels very thick. Well, now I know why. Let's see if I can get this out without too much trouble. Okay, there we go. Let's get my little pieces out, all my little, what they call fallouts. Die cutting isn't just about solid shapes anymore. Look at all my little pieces, they just kind of fall away. That's the beautiful thing about a precision base plate. I wonder if no, it didn't cut all the way through. But I wonder if I could slide that back in there. I bet I could slide that right back into that die and cut that again and finish it off. Okay, so all my little fallouts. So now I've cut the last layer of this die, which means when I bring it back over, here's my base, or my background die. Then my base die, or die number 3. Then die number 2. And last but not least, die number 1. Which then gives you a finished image of layering. You see the blue, you see the silver, you see the copper, and you see the black. And it's beautiful. That is what a kaleidoscope die is. They're named for my mom. If any of you have ever looked at the behind me when I scroll up, there's a whole bunch of kaleidoscopes behind me, and there's a YouTube that explains the whole kaleidoscope reason and why I have them. I'm not going to do that now. But I named them after my mom. And they're meant to layer. But then the beautiful thing about kaleidoscopes is that if you don't want all 3 layers at the same time, you don't have to. I could just layer these 2 and make them beautiful. Or I could layer these 2 and make it beautiful. Or I could layer these 2. Or I could layer those 2 on this. Or I could layer these 2 on my background. You have options. That's the whole point of Kaleidoscope dies is to give you as many options as we possibly could, as I possibly could, for a price that you can afford. Now I know $29.99 is like, ouch. I know for some people that's going to be a challenge, but I also know you're getting 4 distinctly different dies, plus you're getting add-on pieces and words and flowers to embellish on top of it. So when you look at 4 dies for $30 and they're an A2 size, well, 4 into 30, that's $7 a die. And there's nobody who can do that price. It's been painful with the tariffs, I'm not gonna lie, but we haven't increased our price even though we're paying more to manufacture these. They're beautiful. And they're meant to give you can just use this one all by itself and it's beautiful. Meant to give you as many options as we could. Use the background all by itself. But what if you wanted to take them a little bit further? That's where some of this wonderful paper comes in. I'm gonna put these right over there. And I have got paper from, well, this one is a Couture Creations, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a texture to it. This one's got like a linen texture to it. And it is paper, it's not self-adhesive, but it is a beautiful paper. Tonic Studios also has, okay, I don't want you to get confused because it confused us. Oh, who's calling me? Do I dare look? Kim, am I filming? Yes, yes I am. Okay. So I don't want you to get confused with this Craft Perfect paper from Tonic. This is one of the colors. Is that not like the most gorgeous color? It says it's mirror card. Now when I think of mirror card, I think of something that's going to be reflective, but this isn't. This is a satin finish mirror card. So when you see the mirror card, it may be a satin mirror card, or they do make a true mirror card where it's like shiny and you could look at it and see your reflection. This is not. This is so pretty. This is a satin, a rich satin finish that just looks beautiful. Love, love, love it. Now, what if we took, what do I want to do the base die in? Well, maybe I'll do it in silver. What if we took the base die that we've been working with, which is this die right here. And remember I told you, anywhere there's that little edge, that's where it's going to cut. But do you see all of these spaces in here? Do you see those roses? And there's no edge around it. It's completely flat. Why did I do that? Because that's an embossing feature. Embossing feature, yeah, do you remember years ago where you used to have a light box and you'd put your paper down and your stencil, and then you got this tool and you went in there and you manually embossed it? Okay, we've progressed since then. If you have a die cutting machine and you have dies that don't have an edge around them, that don't cut, you look at it and when you, now who's calling me? Honest to goodness gracious. I have no idea. So, remember these two, this die and that die. This paper came out of this die. And you see that there's the flowers there, but it didn't cut them. And sometimes that happens and you think you're buying a die that cuts all of this and you get so disappointed when you get home and it didn't do that. But it does something else. They didn't just put that design in there for no reason. They did not. I'm going to show you what we do with it. So, take my paper, cut it down. I need to figure out how to have my phone on without it buzzing. I thought you could just turn off the sound and everything entirely, but it still wants to buzz. I had an update done on my phone and it's never been the same again. well, I didn't have a choice. It updated itself, and it's just never been the same again. You know, when your phone is smarter than you are, anybody else feel that way? That their phone is just smarter than they are? It's like, okay, you do too many things. Can't I just take a phone call, please? All right, so I've got it cut. Oh, it's very close. I think I'm going to cut another one so it's not so close. There, give myself a little bit of wiggle room. All right, so I'm going to bring my die cutting machine back over. And this time, I'm not going to use my precision base plate. You're like, wait a minute, you just told us that with dies that are intricate, you really need to use the precision base plate. I know I told you that, and it's true, except for when we're going to do what we're going to do. So this is the exception to the rule. I'm going to take my precision base plate off. And I'm going to put down a do not cut plate. Wait a minute, you didn't mention a do not cut plate before. What by George does that mean, Stacy? Well, a do not cut plate is just, now this is a ruby red glitter one. This one's exclusive to us. Ellison made it, Sizzix made it just for Scrapbooking Made Simple. It's the same thing as this not so clear plate. The difference is a do not cut plate, you want to keep it as flat as possible, so you don't want to cut into it. If it happens by accident, it does, but you really want to keep it as flat as possible. Can you see how this one's starting to warp and it's got like a bubble there where this one is perfectly flat? A do not cut plate is lovely to have so that your platform always slides through nice and smooth. When your plates start to warp, this one's not so bad. When your plates start to warp, this one's a little warped. Eventually you have to start putting them kind of in like that. So if you always keep one plate that you never cut on, you always have one flat surface that's going to just slide right through. Now, when I was using the precision base plate, I was putting the paper down and then the die and then another cut plate, and I was sending it through. This time I'm going to reverse that, and I'm going to put the die down first and my paper pretty side against the die. And I'm doing this for a very specific reason. We are going to not only cut this die, we're going to emboss it as well. It's a two-step process. So the first step is to get it cut. And instead of doing it this way, when you're going to cut and emboss a die, I want you to put that die face up and your pretty paper face down. And then I'm going to put on a cut plate, which you want to cut into it as often as you can, and you don't throw them away until they crack and break. Did I put it on an angle? Otherwise I'm going to get a big old ka-thump. Put it on a slight angle. And let's send it on through. Okay. Oh, pretty good. Now, feels like it's cut pretty good. Looks like it's cut pretty good. Let's get rid of that outside. So I've cut my die, but now I want to emboss it. I want to take this paper and I want to force it into all of those nooks and crannies that did not have a cut line around them. I want to force an embossing. And how do I do that? I leave my paper right there. I pick up my do not cut plate, and I have to open my multi-purpose platform, or if you're using the shim, you take your shim away and open to my next platform. Put this down. And instead of doing it with another cut plate, because if I were to do that, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to slide right on through my machine. It's not going to cut. It's not going to do anything because it's not thick enough to hit the roller in the machine. I need to add what we call a squishy and a knock knock. Now that is not their proper names, but I've been calling it that since day one because originally they made these in all black, and the only way for me to just tell you the difference between the two was that this one is squishy and this one knocks. So when you have two black things almost the exact same size on camera, I begged them and they finally did it. They finally made the knock knock in a white and the squishy in a gray, but it's too late. It's a squishy and a knock knock for me, and if you search Scrapbooking Made Simple for squishy and knock knock, it will pull up. What does this do? This is the silicone pad, and this silicone pad goes right on top of that die cut. And this is what's going to get squished down, and it's going to kind of gush, and it's going to force an embossing into all of those spaces that did not have a cut line. Then we have a knock knock, which goes right on top. And that's going to give the right height so that it hits the rollers just so that you will get that embossing. Now it's super important to know that if you try to do this, I'm going to pull this whole thing off. So I've got my sandwich, and let's say I forget to do my platform. Let's say I leave it exactly where it was and I put everything on and I try to send it through. It will not go. The machine will say, no, I'm sorry, it's too thick, I can't take it. That lets you know that you either need to take that shim off or you need to open your platform to your next tab. Then you send it through and it says, oh yeah, I'm gonna go right on through, not a problem. You also want to see, and I know this sounds terrible, you want to see the squishy come out the back end. What? Did she just say that? Yes, she did. The squishy has to come out the back end. Now, if you remember, squishy comes out the back end, you're gonna be golden. Because as I push this through, as I rotate it through and turn my handle, what's going to happen is that pressure from the roller here is going to push down into that squishy, compressing it down, making it start to come out the back end. Do you see it? If you're, look at it, here this is the end of my platform. Here it is. Look at it's growing and it's growing and it's growing because as the pressure is being pushed onto it, that pressure from the silicone pad is pushing into the paper, which is pushing into the die, making an embossing. But you want your squishy to come out the back end. All right. I know that was a lot of work, wasn't it? Let's take off my knock knock or your textured impression pad, an impression pad. That's what Sizzix calls it. Let's take off my squishy or your silicone pad. Now look at what we were able to do. So, if you just cut the die without the squishy and the knock knock, this is what you get. But if you cut the die with the squishy and the knock knock, that's what you get. And then when you layer on top your pieces to fit, and they just kind of click right in place because it's got that embossing, it doesn't just look like flat paper anymore. That raised paper is now coming through the die cut, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Kind of clicks into place, and now it's raised. You could use this all by itself. What if you had white core paper or color core paper? You could sand this and make that embossing come up with, I wonder if we could do that with this. It's white paper. Okay, just go for it, girlfriend. What's the worst that could happen? You have to recut it, right? Let me move this out of my way. What's the worst that could happen? You have to recut. Maybe I'll do it on the blue really quick. You know what? I'm going to do it super fast, and I'm going to do it on the blue. So I'm going to cut myself a nice big piece. Beautiful thing is the paper that we have is $2.99 a pack, and it's on sale, and you get 5 sheets. Gorgeous paper for $2.99, isn't it? I'm going to bring over my die. I've got my multi-purpose platform completely closed. I've got my do not cut plate. I've got my die facing up. I've got my pretty paper facing down. Now, if you accidentally cut down, like you don't have those ridges facing you, it's gonna just cut into your cut plate. You're not gonna get anything. You gotta make sure those ridges that you can feel are facing you, and the pretty side of the paper is facing down. Let's do a slight little angle. Throw these away. Let's get a clear plate on top, and let's send it on through. So I'm just going to do a 1 roll. Then I'm going to bring it back on over. I'm going to open up my tab to tab 1. Tab 1. It says it right there. Tab 1. Oh, shush. Don't know why it does that. I'll have to figure that out one day. Oh no, what did I do? Oh no, well now I can't see what I'm doing. Oh, there I am, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna lift off my clear plate. I'm gonna put my squishy and my knock knock. I'm going to watch for that squishy to come out the back end, and I'm going to send it on through. Now, what happens if you accidentally cut into your squishy? Don't worry about it. It's a silicone pad. It's still good. You don't have to go out and see how it's growing. You don't have to go out and buy a new one. You're going to be fine. See how much it grew? Okay, so let's take this off. And this off. And let's move this out of our way. And again, how beautiful is that? Now I'm going to try and sand it. We're going to see what happens. It's a happy day. Gotta be super gentle. Now I'm sanding a little bit of this blue off the top. And where that embossing is, my sand gadget's hitting it and letting me sand it off. Well, at least we know it works now. And now the design comes up because it's white paper underneath. This is just paper. It's just paper. And then you could take the black and put the black on top, and it would kind of click in. You have options. You just can do so much with these dies. And because they've got the embossing feature, you can just use that. It's up to you. What makes your heart happy? What do you like most? As they say, you do you. So pretty. So the difference is that when the die doesn't have any cut lines around the outside of an image, that means it's an embossing feature. This is not embossed. This is embossed. Squishy and Knock Knock are not sold with the machine. And not every die has an embossing feature. You may have to go back and look at some of your dies and go, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing with it. I'm supposed to be embossing it. Oh, that makes sense now. You could also take it and stencil this. I could have cut my die, and then in those openings, take and stencil it. Get some ink, get in there, and stencil away so that when you pull it up, you've got that image. I could emboss it and then stencil it. I mean, there is just a world of things to be done. Kaleidoscope dies always have 4 dies to them. Always, always. In these 3 sets, we have a background, we have a base die, we have a secondary die that lays on top, and we have a finished die, so that you have anywhere from 3 to 4 layers, depending on how much detail you want or how little detail you want. You can have something as simple as 2 layers. Here, I did this one a little earlier with the gold and the silver. It doesn't have all 3 layers on it. Now it's got the background to it, which I could put up against here. And then if I wanted to, I could add the last layer. It just depends upon how much detail you're looking for. Do you like it with all of it? Do you like just the 2? Do you like the 3? Do you like the 3 here? Your choice, your dies. One piece of gold. You do you, but with the selection that you get, you're able to make many different combinations so that you're able to utilize them again and again and again. That's the idea. So that is a Kaleidoscope die. Again, exclusive to Scrapbooking Made Simple. These are my designs. These are simply defined. And your squishy and your knock knock, really important if you want to be able to do any type of die that has an embossing feature on it. And if you use a die that has an embossing feature and you use a color core or white core paper, you can then sand it to bring that embossing up. Just like you were using an embossing folder, same thing, but you need the squishy and the knock knock. Sizzix has been kind enough to let us put them on sale for 25% off. That does not happen often. And they're not expensive. They're like $6.99 each. So $14 less 25%. Well worth it. Especially now that you're thinking, I need to go back through all of my dies and see which ones have embossing features. Or you're saying, oh, I think I like die cutting. I think this might be something I'm interested in. This is an inexpensive tool that will really help extend the life of your dies without any question. So we went over embossing, we went over die cutting, we went over a little bit about the machine and that a die cutting machine, many on the market. Sizzix is tried and true. Spellbinders makes a great platinum machine. Precision base plate, something that's important if you have intricate dies. So if you've got an intricate die and you're rolling it through your machine and you're rolling it back and forth and back and forth and it's still not cutting and you're twisting it and you're rotating and it's still not cutting, chances are it's too intricate and you need one of these, and it'll just make your life so very, very happy. The first time somebody cuts with a precision base plate and all the little pieces just fall out, it's an aha moment for them. Now, we used, well, I'll show you, let me show you the dies first. So, yeah, let me show you the dies in the card samples. So, the die we used today, I was playing with my wreath, and again, it has all 4 dies, plus it has layering pieces, including words. So, there it is. Let me bring over so, oh no, this is not the, where did my oval go? No, this is, Stacy, what did I do? Oh, here's my wreath. There we go. Better. Okay, so here's your background die. Here's your die, your base die, and we did it out of chocolate box, so we sanded it so you could see the embossing. There's your die number 2. There's your die number 3. Here are some of your words and your extras. And then when you put it all together, here are some of the combinations that you can make. Some of the different combinations. But of course, you have options, so you can do it in any way you want. And that's the die that I used today. And the collection's called Wreathed in Love, and this is Circle in Roses. So there's that one. Now let's do the oval. So here's my oval. And again, it comes with the background die. Now you should see what we did with this background die. With the pieces that fell out is what we did. Then you have your base die, die number 2, your die number 1, and all the little bits and pieces of extra things that you get because I wanted to take up all the space. I am paying for this much metal, whether I have one little die or a bunch of dies. If I'm paying for this much metal, I'm gonna fit as much as I possibly can in because I've already paid for the metal, so I might as well give you extra. Now this is the wreath. It's Butterflies and Ribbons is what it's called. And here you have the background die. So imagine all of these little leaves, the stems, they all fall out. Oh, wait till you see what we did with them. Then you have the base die, which we sanded after embossing. Then we have die number 2, and then die number 1. And then all the little extras that you get, all the extra words and everything. And here, we've put them together. All the different, well, not all of the combinations. Elena would still be die cutting if we did that. Then we have my heart. And there's the heart. And there are the dies that you get. And then all the extras, because I want to fill it up as much as I can. Give you as much value as I can for the money. And here we have the background. Then you have base die that's been sanded, embossed and sanded, and then die number 2 and die number 3, and then all the extra goodies that we were able to fit in. And then here you have it made up. In several different combinations. So pretty and easy to do and affordable. Not $20 a die, $7 a die, a little over $7. And then Elena did this, she put this together. So here you've got the wreath, and you've got the oval with the rose, and she mixed and matched the backgrounds. So she took some of the backgrounds from other dies, you know, from the other 3 sets. She mixed the backgrounds between the sets. Like, this is not the background that comes with this set. You get the roses with this set, which is up here. So she showed you how you can mix and match the backgrounds regardless of what set you're using. So if you have all 3 sets, well, you've got all 3 backgrounds to play with, which then gives you a whole nother infinite amount of combinations to make. Elena, you did a great job. She does all the storyboards. Then we have some of the Craft Perfect product. So we're featuring the satin finish mirror card. And remember, mirror card is a little bit confusing. And I don't have all the colors up here with me, but it is that satin finish, that regal, royal, beautiful finish. Oh, are you kidding me? Okay, well, we're just going to continue on, aren't we? So the mirror card, that's got the satin finish. I've got several colors of it. We've got it on an I Want It All. I want to say there's 11 colors in total. And then we also have, which just fell. Oh, let's see if I can get to it. Yes. Yes. No editing here, folks. What you see is what you get. We've got the beautiful mirror board, and these are all embossed or textured from Couture Creations. So this has got that beautiful linen texture on it. This has got the crosshatch. And this has got a linen texture. And these have always been popular, popular, popular. They're the damask finish. They're just beautiful. You can't go wrong. And I played with it on this one. And let's see, I've got some here. Oh yeah, here, look. Look at that damask finish. Can you see that? I hope it comes up. And the linen finish, they're just so pretty. So this is all on sale, part of the YouTube Yummy sale. But the best part of the whole YouTube is probably the samples that the girls make. So let's start with those. I'm going to start with Belinda. Right? Gorgeous, right? And here she's got On This Day. And these are Belinda. Belinda. And her cute little bee. Oh no, Belinda, really? Okay, wait for it. It gets better than this. Are you ready? Look, she made a mixed media piece. She used the die as a stencil. She cut it out and then she put the paper down and she stenciled over the top to get all of the veins. I love this, Belinda. That's hilarious. But she used the die cut as a stencil. Where's my piece of blue? So she took the die, she die cut it, laid it down, and then made a stencil out of it. How smart is she? She even did the easel. God bless her pea-picking heart. Love it, Belinda. Ooh, oh, I like this one too. So see, now that's traditional mirror board. See how you can see the reflection? That's traditional mirror board, unlike the satin finish that doesn't have that reflective aspect to it. This is beautiful. And then she took, oh, see, she took the fallouts from when she made the die cut, when she cut this and all of these little leaves fell out, she took them and used them to make a wreath. And she used the roses from one of the other die sets. So this is Belinda. Then we have Sharon. And Sharon cut things apart, and she cut the frame off of, I mean, she just did a beautiful job. Look at how lovely is that? And so easy to do. She did not use all 4 dies. She only used 2. Again, she did not use all 4 dies. She only used 2. And here, she did use all 4 dies. And this is Sharon. Then we have honorary SMS girl Katie, who makes stunning cards, and whether she likes it or not, she's part of the design team. And this is using the Couture Creations paper. I think she used almost all the Couture Creations paper. And again, she didn't use all 4 dies. She used 2, and she used some of the accent pieces. This is Katie. And here she didn't use any of the dies. She just used the Couture Creations paper. She embossed it, and then she inked over it. And here she embossed the main die right into the paper and then used the top die to embellish. And she used both the Couture Creations paper and she used the satin paper. No, actually it's all Couture Creations. She used the linen and the damask to do this. So pretty. So we've got Katie who did these, right? You have options. And then with all the little leaves that fall out of the background in one die, she made a wreath. Because you have them all, it cuts out like 20 of them. You've got plenty to make a wreath. And this is Katie. Then we have Elena. And here Elena used the background die. And that's the only die she used for this card, was the background die. And here, the leaf die. So all the little leaf pieces that came out, she used around to make a wreath. So pretty, Elena. And then look at this one. Same thing, she just used the background die to make her card. Sometimes the background die is all you need. And here, this is what inspired, these last cards are what inspired the make and take, because I saw these and they were just so stunning. And she only used, actually she cut all the frame around. She took away all the rectangle and just kept the center pieces to do this card. Beautiful, right? Done with this satin mirror board from Tonic Studios. We're out of the red, don't even ask. And here she did the embossing. And then just doubled it up. Beautiful, right? So she made these corners. She cut the die and then snipped out only what she wanted to make this corner. This is Elena. And of course it wouldn't be Elena, I don't know how I'm gonna get this in there, but it wouldn't be Elena if we did not have, she's got a whole, let me see if I can zoom back just a little bit. And let me turn it on because it has to be lit, right? Oh, there we go. She's got her whole little, I think her husband found this at like the swap meet for $2. And she went in and she decorated it with all the different background dies. So she decorated the windows with all the different background dies. How clever is she for $2? How clever is he? How wonderful of a husband is he? Rudy, for seeing this and saying, my wife, that's something she would like. Gosh, what a great guy. So this is Elena. It just stands up and you can just put it on your centerpiece or your table or a shelf somewhere, and it just is pretty. Love the bow too. Okay, that's Elena. Let me turn it off. And then let's do Doris next, and I'm going to zoom back on in just a little bit. Zoom. Oh, zoom. Okay. So let's do Doris. And same thing. She took the die and made a Christmas card out of it. This is the rose background, and these are all the little leaves that fall out of the other background. And look at that Christmas card that she made. These were not meant for Christmas, but by George, they're beautiful. Holy smokes, artichokes, Doris. Love, love, love. And then we have Happy Anniversary. Doris says, Minte paper saves the day. She's been playing with fun colors and she couldn't find what she wanted to go with it until she looked at our collection of Minte paper out of Poland. Minte saves the day. And here's another Christmas. So pretty. Love them so much. Wasn't meant for Christmas, and she said, I know it's a rose, but it just lended itself right to a beautiful Christmas card. And then we have Happy Mother's Day, and here she cut and she kept everything together so it looks like it's embossed, but she kept every piece together, which means she probably put it on Stacy tape and kept every piece together. And then I love this one. This is beautiful. The For You. Just beautiful. See, in here she did, instead of taking another foil and layering it on top, she just took a piece of cardstock. She embossed the background and then took the top piece. So she used the base and die number 1 to achieve that look with the beautiful satin finish. See, here's another one where she embossed it, and this time she used the Couture Creations paper to layer in there. So pretty. And this is all Doris. And then we have Miss Claire. Okay, love, love, love. Just used the background die and a piece of paper, and she just fussy cut the edge on the paper for the roses. Love, love, love. And here she mixed and matched. So you've got the pink satin with the silver satin on top of a piece of patterned paper. And here you've got another just with the background. And then she just cut 3 icons out of some patterned paper that we have. But that background just adds, it just makes it. It allows you to put together a quick and simple card, or to use it in your altered art or your mixed media or your layouts, because you can just pop a picture right on top of it. This is all Claire. Ooh, I love the next one too. Love, love, love. So pretty. And she used pattern paper to cut. She used the base die and then die number 2. She didn't even use die number 1 or the background. Can you see all the different ways you can utilize this to get so many different looks? And here she did the background die with all the fallouts, but then she put a couple of the little leaves back in and popped them up so it had some dimension to them. Oh, so pretty. And then last but not least, on her cards, how yummy is that? That satin paper is just gorgeous, both from Couture Creations and Tonic Studios. The paper's lovely. It's different, it's unusual, it adds a little extra of an element without being too expensive because it's $2.99. I think you get 5 sheets, maybe you get, let's see, let me see if I can find what it says. Let's see, you get, I think it's 10 pieces of the Couture Creations paper and 5 pieces of the satin from Tonic. So pretty. And then Claire did not one, but she has a layout. Does she have 2 layouts? She has a layout and a mixed media piece. Here's her altered art mixed media. In fact, I'm going to tilt them back a little bit. Right? Lovely. And again, she also stenciled she die cut out the background and then used it as a stencil. And then we have her layout, which I did a sneak peek of on Facebook. And this is using the Couture Creations paper and the die, and she took the pieces and cut them out to add the border. Just a lovely, beautiful, easy layout. All right. Okay, folks. Hello, me again. Hello. Let me go back just a little bit more. So those are the kaleidoscopes, not all of them. I have a few of them up here along with a bunch of snow globes that were sent to me. I lost my mom's collection of snow globes when my house burned down, and several people were kind enough to send me some snow globes, so I see them right there. So I've got kaleidoscopes back there, up here, and then my snow globes. So this is Simply Defined. It is part of my Kaleidoscope collection of layering dies. And if you want to know the story about the Kaleidoscope, just go back and I guess you can search Kaleidoscope or the story about Kaleidoscope and you can watch it. I'll tell you, it's something you might want to have a Kleenex for. But but I love these dies and I love how they layer and I love the options that they give you, and utilizing them with a unique paper just adds to it. And then if you use the embossing feature, again, it just adds to it. So you can keep them very simple, or you can make them as elaborate as your heart wishes, because you have options. All right, so where are you going to find all of this stuff? Well, the dies you can only find here. They're Simply Defined in their mind. They're only at Scrapbooking Made Simple. If you have a local retailer that happens to sell a Sizzix Big Shot machine or a die cutting machine, go buy it from them. Buy it. If you're lucky enough to have a local retailer, a mom and pop shop that you can get your die cutting machine from, or your die cutting supplies, your cutting plates and your squishy and your knock knock, go introduce yourself and say hello. Tell them Stacy at Scrapbooking Made Simple sent you, because it's all about supporting the independent retailers out there. If you're not fortunate enough to have one, then come shop online with us. But the Craft Perfect, the satin mirror board you'll find with us, the Couture Creations embossed paper you'll find with us, and of course the Simply Defined dies. All right, it is me, Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. I hope you had a good time with this YouTube and that you hopefully learned something that you didn't know before, or you said, oh yeah, I remember doing that, but I haven't done that in quite some time. Maybe I should try that again. And you pull out some of your things and you get re-energized to do your crafting, especially in that embossing, because it's such a beautiful thing to do and all you need is paper to do it. So, all right, I will see you next week for Black Friday. We have a huge Black Friday sale. We have received in all the product for the anniversary sale. We've shipped about a third of our anniversary sale orders, and now we'll start shipping again. And yesterday we received in a pallet from Sizzix, so I'm only waiting for 2 more pallets from Sizzix, and then we will start shipping out, processing and shipping out the Shop That Didn't Hop event. So if you're on the first day, we're going to be processing those first 200 orders relatively soon. As soon as those pallets get here from Sizzix, man, we are going to hop on it. So we'll be shipping regular orders, anniversary sale orders, Shop That Didn't Hop orders, and when we're done with the anniversary sale, we will roll into Black Friday, Black Saturday sale orders. So keep that in mind. And then I have something very special for you. The first time we've ever done it, coming in December. It's the first time we've ever done it. So I will be telling you about that soon. Not now, but soon. All right, you guys, it was so good to see you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Bye.